It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. Across the web, on Fight Now TV, and on radio stations around the world. It's the only daily boxing talk radio show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for Talking Boxing with Billy C. Good morning, good day, good evening, whatever you listen. I hope you're doing all right. We got a busy show scheduled for you today to close out the week. Actually, today you're driving the show, so hop in the driver's seat. Phone line will be open for the entire show. As long as we're getting calls, we're going to keep going. If we stop getting calls, we're going to stop going. Yeah. That's the day, man. It's Friday. We get to do that. Today's show is being brought to you in part by the Returning Stone Resort and Casino on their next boxing event, which is taking place next week, Friday. The heavyweight boxino tournament. We want you there. I'm going to be there, and I want you to get yourself some tickets right now by visiting our website, www.billycboxing.com, clicking on the ESPN fight poster, which is right there on the right-hand side. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by JKJ Boxing and their next boxing event, which is taking place February 28th at the Holiday Inn in Syracuse, New York. And you can get yourself some tickets by visiting our website, www.billycboxing.com. Click it on the JKJ Boxing Promotions fight poster. It's right there on the right-hand side. That one you can't miss. 3 gorgeous girls on the front. So just click that, get yourself some tickets. And by the way, just letting you know, my man, Discombobulating Jones, doing the ring announcing for that day. And he's always worth the price of admission. So make sure you get some tickets to JKJ Boxing's next event, February 28th in Syracuse. And today's show is being brought to us in part by China Smith Boxing and their next boxing event, which is taking place April 3rd in beautiful Sarasota, Florida. Now, you can get tickets by visiting, come on, you guessed it, www.billycboxing.com and clicking on the April 3rd China Smith fight poster. And if you can't get down to Sarasota, Florida on April 3rd, fear not, because we're going to be broadcasting the entire event from start to finish. Yours truly is doing the blow-by-blow, and it's going to be coming at you for free on LDL TV. That's right. LDL TV is going to be broadcasting the entire event for free. And while you're at it, you can check it out right here on BillyCBoxing.com. Now, coming up in a little bit, we got some fight results that took place yesterday in Texas, Dallas, Texas. We'll talk about that. Abner Mares is returning to the ring. We'll give you an update on that. Purse bid was won today by Main Events for the Cruiserweight elimination fight for the WBC title. Saralyn Events, who promotes Cecilia Brækhus, who's scared shitless of Chevelle Halbach and refuses to give her a rematch. They made a statement today on Robert Helinas, so I'll talk about that. Another fight, Alfonso Gomez is getting back into the ring on March 20th. We'll talk about that. We got the next Broadway boxing card, which is next weekend. First time they're leaving the city and going a little north to Westchester. We'll give you the whole rundown on that card. We got some emails to talk about. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about with Brækhus and Chevelle Halbach, check out our website, www.billycboxing.com. Dax Khan just posted an article about that, so check it out. Give us your thoughts. Now, the phone line is open today, 845-228-8710. You're driving the show today, ladies and gentlemen. ladies and gentlemen. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to talk about anything boxing related, or hey, I'll talk about other stuff, give us a call, 845-228-8710. My first email's from Jesse. You knew that. He says, hey, Billy Z, your thoughts on Horatio Garcia. He is working with Frampton. Peter Frampton? No. Carl Frampton, I see. For sparring. He's sparring with Frampton. What's your thoughts? Horatio Garcia, he's a junior featherweight, 24 years old. He fights out of Mexico. He's undefeated, 28-0 with 20 knockouts. The computer has him ranked at number 29 in the world. Last year, really, he had, at the beginning of his career, a lot of fights, were against very questionable opposition. But last year, he arguably had the two best wins of his career. He beat Jonathan Perez and Fernando Lumacad in 2014. He also fought two other times. So the guy was pretty busy last year. I think he's a fighter to watch out for sure. So, Jesse, thanks for the email. And we got a caller on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Bill, it's Coach.
Hey, Coach. What's up, brother? How you doing? I love when you call in. What's going on, man?
I got a little good news and a little bad news.
Uh-oh. What? First, the bad news. Give me the bad news first.
Bad news, I'm not going to be able to make it up to the Turning Stone.
Oh, you won a whole section worth of tickets, for God's sakes,
Yeah, I know, and I should have realized it right away. But I forgot I'm involved with Daryl Madison's first show, and it's that same day, that Friday, so there's no way.
No problem. We can drop an email on that. And, hey, you see Daryl Madison, you tell him Billy C said hi, man. I like that guy. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, I'm going to be calling him back this evening, so I'll try to get him to give you a shout-out early next week. He's putting on his first card as a promoter.
In Long Island?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's going to be at the Upski Long Island Hotel. He has Elton Darry. He's going to be defending his IBF Intercontinental Bantamweight title as in the main event. Former national amateur champion Adam Willett is going to be in the semi-main event. Then he has a whole list of local fighters. He's trying to give them some exposure.
Sounds good. I wish I would have known. I would have tried to do the broadcast for him, but a little late notice now. But yeah, tell him I said hey, man.
Absolutely.
So was that the good news?
Yeah, that was the good news.
Well,
but I'm looking through the dates here, and on yesterday's show, you had mentioned another card you're going to be at.
What, in Florida?
Oh, was that the Florida one? Or
what,
was
in April? In April?
Nah, I thought it was up here somewhere. That's why it hit. I wanted, because this way I could hook up with you then.
Oh! The next one I'm going to is going to be next week up at Turning Stone. Then I'm actually heading out to France. I'm going to be going to France for a week for Sean Miller. I got him a world title shot over in France for the World Boxing Federation light heavyweight title. So I'm going to be ringside for that one, and then hey, we'll be doing whatever we got.
Because that was going to be my next question. Going through BoxRec, they had that Sean Miller fight listed at Whitehall, upstate.
For what date?
Oh, I don't remember the date.
Yeah,
he can't be fighting.
I don't know why they would have him up there, but yeah, that I for some reason that French show wasn't on BoxRec, I guess. But nah, Whitehall. Who would go there? I mean, that place is a dump, and that venue is a dump, and I don't know if they.
Last time I heard about that, a couple of shows were canceled there.
Yeah. It's rough up there. The guy that's the promoter up there doesn't have a clue. But the problem is there's nothing else there, Coach. I mean, you go there with your fighters. There's no hotels. There's no place to eat. There's nothing. If you just want to get away and not be with civilization, it's a great place to go, but not for fights. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
it's funny because that's one of the other things that happened. I went to give away, the tickets that I had won from you, and what happened was with the combination of Daryl having his show local, and then the few people that were willing to go to make the run, they were having a hard time booking hotels, and then just because of the weather and everything being up in the air, being wishy-washy, and that they kind of just...
not that I don't want... because the Turning Stone Resort is really nice. I mean, if you can get a room there. But they have a La Quinta that's brand new right outside the place. I don't know if you noticed it last time you were up there, but it's brand new. It's nice. It's actually pretty nice. And they're very reasonable. So I know a lot of people that go there. And just actually, there's a shuttle that takes you across the street to the Turning Stone. So let me know on that. If we change it, we change it. If not, no problem, man.
Yeah, I didn't want you to get jammed up or whatever. All righty, well, I'll let you go, and back to the show.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot.
All right, cool.
That's my man, Coach. You can check him out in the chat room, man. He's always got a lot of good stuff to say and back us up on with some interesting facts. So if you're watching or listening live, come on over to the chat room, which is up on BillyCBoxing.com. We got another email. This one's from my man Sean Kearns from the UK. He says, hey, Billy C., do you think David Haye returns to boxing? And do you give him a chance against the current top heavyweights? He says, also, just to let you know, Billy Joe Saunders was never in line to fight for... Yeah, I know. You guys, a lot of people caught me on that. I had a brain freeze yesterday. He says that was James DeGale, who's fighting for Frotch's vacated belt. Yeah, I know. I made a mistake yesterday. Several other people pointed that out, and I apologize for that. I slipped. But anyway, my man Sean from the UK. As far as David Haye is concerned, I hope I don't lose you as a viewer or a listener, Sean. But, David Haye, in my opinion, although he was successful as a cruiserweight, I think he was a fraud as a heavyweight, to be honest with you. I can't stand his trainer, that little midget, rah-rah man. I mean, he's awful. He's ruined. The only guy he's actually worked well with was David Haye. Now, don't get me wrong, Sean. David Haye clearly has boxing talent and ability. But what bothers me about David Haye is one of these guys that thinks that he deserves a shot right to the top. If he decides to come back, he thinks he can go right to the top. And that kills me. I can't stand... Same thing with Shannon Briggs. I can't stand fighters that, come back or something and immediately think that they can get a shot. Now, the reason they do is because they're a name. Now, with that said, do I think he's got a shot? Actually, I don't. I thought that he was extremely lucky in the Valuev fight to capture the WBA World Heavyweight title to begin with. I thought it was an extremely close fight. It wasn't a robbery, in my opinion, but I actually scored the fight for Valuev. Now, I think people that scored the fight for David Haye felt that David Haye squeaked it out with that one devastating punch where he rocked Valuev, which was extremely impressive. And then we all saw what he pulled with the Klitschko fight. And to me, I lost any little teeny bit of respect that I had for him in that fight. So, do I think he could be a force? If he came back seriously and he had to fight a guy, if they forced him to fight like a Tyson Fury or one of those level guys, a true top 10 guy, and he got past him, then I would reevaluate the situation. But as far as David Haye is concerned, I don't really give him a chance against the top guys. Although, to be honest, if he did fight a couple of fights, two big guys like Fury and Deontay Wilder would actually be perfect opponents for David Haye. David Haye likes to fight the bigger guys, and he does have freakish punching power. But I don't want to give him a chance. But yes, he's got some talent. I think it would be interesting to see how he fought some of the other guys in the heavyweight division. And he has no chance in hell against Klitschko. I'm not so sure what kind of a chance he's got against Wilder. I think David Haye is a little more willing to engage than some of the other fighters, but we'll have to wait and see. I appreciate the email, Sean. I know I dodged it and didn't really answer because I don't know. I'm not a big fan of David Haye, and until he stepped in the ring at least once and fought a real fighter, not a Shannon Briggs type opponent, like Shannon Briggs' level opponents that he's been fighting. I wouldn't even consider giving a rating on David Haye if he did that. But if he came back, fought one of those guys, and then fought a legitimate top 10, and I would evaluate him and then let you know if he could be a force. A force? No. Contender? Maybe. If you're in upstate New York and you need a trucking company, then you need Rosselli Enterprises. Rosselli Enterprises is trucking at its finest. They have it all. Dump trucks, dump trailers, walk-in floors, flatbeds, flowboys, tankers, loaders, and a full line of roll-off containers for any job, big or small. Rosselli Enterprises is also the source for all your sand, gravel, and topsoil needs. Visit them on the web at RosselliTrucking.com or call 315-433-5115. That's 315-433-5115 and tell them Billy C sent you. Hey, fight fans, check out KOFantasyBoxing.com. KO Fantasy Boxing is boxing's only trademarked fantasy game. Check it out, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Select your own gym, your own fighters, track them through a season that can last from 3 months to a year, depending upon which league you join. You got to check this out, man, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Join it today. Again, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. And tell him Billy C sent ya.
We've got a great matchup tonight. Fighting out of the left corner is the number 1 ranked contender.
No, he is not.
I'm sorry, but who are you?
I am the IBO computer. I am programmed to provide only fair and unbiased boxing rankings. This fighter is the number 15 ranked contender.
Fair and unbiased boxing rankings? That's a new concept.
Actually, it is not. The IBO has provided unbiased computerized rankings for many years.
Well, we've still got a great fight tonight, folks. In the left corner is the number 15 ranked contender.
The IBO, the champion of integrity. Learn more at IBOboxing.com.
As a young boy, all Billy C dreamed about was one day having his own catchphrase.
And we're back. And we're back.
One boy, one dream, one day, everyone will say.
And we're back. 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 And we're back.
Catchphrase coming soon to a theater near you.
You thought I forgot, huh? And we're back. I was texting, man. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. Glad you could join us. Don't forget about JKJ Boxing's next event, February 28th in Syracuse, New York. It's actually at the Holiday Inn in Syracuse, New York. Make sure you check that one out. Now, you can get some tickets by visiting our website, www.billycboxing.com, and clicking on the fight poster, which is right there on the right-hand side. Now, we got some pretty decent fighters on that card, including Martez Potter, Luis Lights Out Vargas, and the younger brother of Nick Brinson, who's a contender in the middleweight division, younger brother who's also fighting in the middleweight division, Tony Hard Hittin' Brinson. So, and a bunch of other young local talent. So check that out. Tickets only start at $20, man. So get yourself some tickets by visiting www.billycboxing.com and clicking on the JKJ Boxing poster, which is on the right-hand side. That's the one with the 3 girls on it. So it's worth it just checking those out. And make sure you click on the poster and then under events. So you can go directly to the website if you want, jkjboxing.com, and click events for all the information about the February 28th show. Phone line is open, 845-228-8710. What's on your mind? We got another email. This one's from my man Mike from Michigan. He says, hey, Billy C, so I've never liked Paulie Malignaggi, not as a fighter or as a human being. I also don't share the same respect for him as a broadcaster as you and others do. Yes, he can be knowledgeable at times. However, I just don't like the guy. Okay. He said, this guy sounds like me a lot. He says, do you remember his comments after his loss to Adrian Broner? After the loss, Paulie went on a tantrum about Al Haymon and how Al Haymon controls everything and blah, blah, blah. While I enjoyed some of the verbal jabs he took at Haymon, I didn't like how soon after that loss and those comments he signed with Haymon. That tells me that Paulie's like that little kid who feels left out because he didn't get invited to the party. And all the cool kids make fun of him, and Paulie cries. So Paulie tells his parents that he didn't get invited to the party, but the cool kids did. And then he cries about it, so his parents go talk to the other cool kids' parents. And then next time there's a party, Paulie gets invited and acts like he never cried to his parents to force his parents to get him invited. Not to mention the ludicrous comments he made about being able to beat Manny Pacquiao. What I'm getting at in this email is this. If you could choose a fight venue, the television company broadcasting it, along with the broadcasters, who would you choose? Since there's usually three, you can give me your pick of all three guys who you like the best calling a fight. For example, I think HBO is far better production value than Showtime, so I would pick HBO to broadcast. I really like the atmosphere at Manchester Arena in England. Then I would choose Max Kellerman, Al Bernstein, and a prime Jim Lampley. To go a little further, if I could choose a referee, I think I might go with Michael Griffin. Really? Michael Griffin? He says if I could pick a fight, any fight, I would have to pick Ali Frazier 1. I also enjoy Harold Letterman, and for the most part, I think his scoring is usually pretty accurate. If I could choose one current or retired fighter to help with the broadcast, I might pick Boom Boom Mancini. What about you? Well, I don't know what fight. I mean, if I could pick a fight to call or see again, live, I mean, come on. In my lifetime, the greatest 3 rounds of boxing I ever saw live was Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns, I agree with you, Mike, first of all, about Paulie Malignaggi. I'm not a big fan of him either, but I do think he does a great job as a ringside analyst. As far as my dream broadcast crew, I do think Al Bernstein is really good, and I definitely like my man Harold Letterman. So let's start off with this. The broadcast company I would choose, hands down, would be HBO. That's for sure. HBO, their product is the best. So, in my opinion, so far out there. There's a lot of catching up to do with everybody else. So, number one, I'd pick HBO. As far as the commentators are concerned, I would have to go. I love Al Bernstein, all right? So, I would have to go with Al Bernstein. Now, as far as a partner for him, there's a couple of people, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I would like to be part of it. Maybe I could be the third guy. I definitely would take Harold Letterman. And I like the other guy. What's his name? I can't think of him right now. He's on Showbox. My man, Steve Farhood. Okay, geez, my mind is it's like a sieve lately. So I guess I would pick Farhood and Bernstein, and myself. I think I could add some color to it, and I think we would have a Harold Letterman as the unofficial scorer. And as far as a referee, can I bring one out of retirement? Because I'd pick my man Larry Hazard. But I like Ron Lipton. I think Ron Lipton does a good job. So I would pick him. I'd definitely go HBO, Al Bernstein, Steve Farhood. And if I can't pick me, I guess I would have to go with I guess Max. I don't know. I would say Paulie, but Paulie does a good job. I like Paulie's, his job that he does. I like it. So if I can't pick myself, I guess I would pick Max because I think if Max is let loose, he's not bad. But anyway, thanks for the emails. Phone line is open, 845-228-8710. It's going to be an early night for us if you don't call in. Thursday night fight results. there was a fight in Dallas, Texas, at the Frontiers of Flight Museum. And it was a fundraiser. It's called A Night to Fight to benefit the Ring of Hope Boxing Club. The main event in the bantamweight division, Oscar Mojica improved to 6-1 with a knockout when he won a clear 8-round unanimous decision over Alejandro Moreno, who drops to 24-33. The way the judges scored that was 80-72 across the board, all three. Also on that card in the super lightweight division, Alex Del Bosque improved to 6-2 with 4 knockouts when he stopped Steve Trumbull at 1 minute and 2 seconds of the second round. Trumbull drops to 13-34. Not exactly a nail-biter card, huh? And in the junior welterweight division, Jose Rodriguez improved to 8-1 when he stopped Hector Garza in the very first round, 2 minutes and 12 seconds of that one. Those are the kinds of cards I throw up over. Sauerland event. Yeah, I know. They're scared to death of giving Chevelle Hallback a rematch with Cecile Brackus, but they're very strict when it comes to fighters trying to get out of contract. And this time it was announced that Sauerland event is kind of telling Robert Holinas, who's claiming that he's coming back to the ring and that he's going to be fighting on some card. And Sauerland event released a press release saying that the 19-0 Robert Holinas, they're very happy for him, that he's decided to come back. They believe that he's still one of the best talents in the heavyweight division out there, which I think is bullshit. But they also said, by the way, he's still under contract with us. So if he decides to, go fight without us, there's going to be some problems. So that's what Sauerland event said. And we got some news coming up about Al Haymon's next card. They added another one, but that's my question of today. I've been talking about him, and although the guy is at first, I don't like what he's doing. He's trying to monopolize the sport and everything else, but what he's doing with the television deals he's got, which is it's actually putting a lot of pressure on himself. And I feel that if he succeeds, it's going to help this sport big time. My question is, do you think he's gonna? Can he pull it off? A lot of pressure on Al Haymon to save the sport in a sense, at least the broadcast. Can he do it?
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
Broadcasting in all corners of the globe, on the web and radio.
He would scoff at a stretch of that man, I would
think. You're listening to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. from upstate New York and the good old US of A.
Boxing is here to stay because we are here to stay.
The best 2 hours of boxing talk on the airwaves.
Hey, fight fans, check out KOFantasyBoxing.com. KO Fantasy Boxing is boxing's only trademarked fantasy game. Check it out, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Select your own gym, your own fighters, track them through a season that can last from 3 months to a year, depending upon which league you join. You got to check this out, man, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Join it today. Again, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. And tell him Billy C sent ya.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C, the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C, damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. My fellow Americans, good evening. Welcome back to Talking Boxing with Billy C. It's great to be here discussing the sweet science with everybody. I love boxing. I love talking boxing. It's what I do.
Bill.
Oh, wait, what?
Bill.
Why are you interrupting me? What?
Wrong.
What's
wrong,
the problem?
Billy
What?
C.
I did not have...
We're gonna have to ask
wrong
you.
speech. What do you mean wrong, Billy C? What's going on here? Fine, I'll go. I just wanted to talk some boxing on TPSradio.net. That's all I wanted to do. I don't need your damn show. I'll get my own talking wrestling with the other Billy C. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I've always been a Hulkamaniac anyway.
Broadcasting live, brother. Welcome back to Talking Boxing with Billy C. on the mighty TPSradio.net, brother. What you gonna do, brother?
And, we're back, man. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. Glad you could join us. Don't forget about JKJ Boxing and their next event, February 28th, up in Syracuse, New York, at the Holiday Inn. Check it out. You can get some tickets by visiting our website, to www.billycboxing.com, and clicking on the JKJ Boxing poster. Don't forget, my man, Discombobulating Jones is doing the ring announcing, and he's a character. So make sure you say hello to him if you go there. So don't forget to get yourself some tickets there. And you can't miss the poster. It's got the three hotties on it. Al Haymon, who I think is, kind of ruining the sport, but might save it, as far as the television. You see, what I don't like about him is his blueprint. And I got this message. Somebody pointed me to a message. Some clown on YouTube said, "Oh yeah, Billy C, and listed the first couple of fights. Oh, they're bad matchups, huh?" Listen, the trick with the key with this guy is that he picks fights that looks good on paper, but they're really not. Like Maidana, Floyd Mayweather. It didn't look good on paper, but it turned out to be a decent fight. It was like the reverse. I think we'll have to wait and see. Josito Lopez, one of my favorite fighters, him and Andre Berto, do you really think that that's going to be... It should be a good fight, but Berto is much bigger. So I don't know. But that's not my point. That's my negative side, but my positive side with Al is what he's doing with the TV. If he can pull it off, it's going to help the sport, trust me. Whether you like Al or not, what he's pulling off is, if he does pull it off, it's going to be great for the sport. And speaking of Adrian Broner against John Molina, Keith Thurman against Robert Guerrero. First of all, Adrian Broner against John Molina, how can anyone think that that's going to be a good fight? John Molina is so limited. Yes, he's going to be exciting because he's going to try to the end, and he has won fights in the last round. Problem is, he's never going to catch the Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner's too fast for him, foot-wise and stuff. Now, if Adrian Broner gets cocky and tries to exchange with Molina, maybe. And as far as Keith Thurman against Robert Guerrero, I just am not convinced that Robert Guerrero has it in him anymore. I don't mean the talent. I mean the desire. I'm telling you, those two fights are going to turn out to be stinkers. Adrian Broner is going to beat John Molina in a unanimous decision, and Keith Thurman may have a career-defining fight against Robert Guerrero, who hasn't been in the ring in over a year. To suggest that that's a great fight, a great card, I don't know. It could be. But anyway, Abner Mares, 28-1 with a draw. He's returning to the ring to take on Arturo Santos Reyes, 18-4. It's going to be part of the PBS, or PBC, I should say, Premier Boxing Champions on NBC. So we'll see what happens with that one there. That's not exactly a nail-biter, right? So anyway, what's your thoughts? 845-228-8710. We're getting down to the end here. So if you have a question, comment, or concern, now's the time to call in. Otherwise, I'm getting out of here early. It's still light out even. Main events participated in a purse bid this morning. for the WBC's eliminator rights between Fabrizio Zarak Machunu and Ilunga Junior Makabu. And Main Events won the purse. There was no numbers released, so I'm not sure what exactly they had to do to win the fight, to win the purse bid. But the winner of the Makabu Machunu fight is going to face the current WBC World Cruiserweight Champion Gregory Drozd, who's 39-1 with 27 knockouts. Now, this fight will take place in the spring. We don't have the exact date, but they do know that it's going to be taking place in South Africa. So we'll see what happens there. So, to tell you the truth, I like this matchup between Machunu and Makabu. I think it's a pretty evenly matched fight. And it's going to be interesting to see who wins this fight and then who goes on to face Drozd. Because Drozd wasn't even the favorite when he won the title when he fought, what's his name, Vlad Zarek, right? He beat Vlad Zarek for that belt. So, I don't know. I think the winner of this elimination bout may become the new WBC World Cruiserweight champ. In a fight that is scheduled for March 20th, which is going to take place on Fox 1 Sports, Alfonso Gomez, the same guy, him, he's been around forever, is taking on Yoshiro Kamagi. And they're going to be meeting on March 20th. Gomez is 24 wins, 6 losses, and a couple of draws right now. He's 34 years old. If you recall, he was on the original Contender Series, so he's been around a while. And Kamagi is 25 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. He's 32 years old. His last fight was a decision loss to Robert Degos Guerrero. And actually, I forgot about this fight. Robert Degos Guerrero, that was in June of last year, so he hasn't been out of the ring quite 1 year. So I guess I was a little off on that one. Sort of like yesterday with James DeGalley, right? And I was assuming or saying that he was fighting, that he wasn't fighting, that Billy Joe Saunders was fighting Froch when it was him. Broadway boxing, long time series. It's generally in New York City, but for the first time since they started this Broadway boxing series, which is already 12 years old, same age as our show here. Yes, can you believe it? We've been doing this show for 12 years. We're in our 12th year. We started out doing it, you guys know I was a promoter. I'm still involved in the boxing scene big time. I manage fighters. I do matchmaking with the World Boxing, all those things. But when we opened a gym in Poughkeepsie, New York. It's about an hour north of Manhattan. And it was a big gym, nice gym. And one of the reasons why I started the show was I wanted to figure out a way to promote the gym. So we started this boxing talk show. My Jeremy, my cousin, actually, and he talked me into it. And I never did radio or anything like that before. And we started doing it just to attract people into the gym. And the rest is history. We went from that to a weekly. That was a weekly show. It started out at 1 hour, then we went to 2. Then we started doing a morning show. And then we did both. We did a morning show and the weekly show, and it became daily. And we went from doing it as a podcast to a live internet broadcast to getting on radio stations. Now we're on 38, and then we ultimately went to TV. And now we feel that we're going back to the future. Internet through our own channels, LDL TV. Billy C. Boxing, YouTube, all that stuff is where we like it. Now, we still have the podcast. And as a matter of fact, those are my favorite listeners because they pay $15 a year. And listen, we all know we can get this show no matter. You can get it for free anywhere. But if you become a premium podcast subscriber, you're doing two things. first and foremost, you're helping us out. You're helping us out big time. That's first and foremost. So if you want to help out the show, it only costs $15 a year. Become a premium podcast subscriber. But you know what the most important thing it does? It covers your ass, because the premium podcast subscribers always get the show, no matter what. Even if we have a problem with the broadcast, with the cameras, with the YouTube, with the internet, with all those things, if we have any kind of issues, those shows get tossed. But we never have an issue with the premium podcast subscribers, because that print of that copy of the show is what gets uploaded to the radio stations, so we cannot have that fail. So it will not fail, Tennessee Tuxedo. But the bottom line is, not only do you cover your ass and never miss a show, you also have the convenience of a premium podcast to listen to it whenever the hell you want and wherever the hell you want. Just listen. And you help us out. So you could become a premium podcast. There was like a quick infomercial, right? You could become a premium podcast subscriber by visiting our website, www.billycboxing.com, and click on the yellow button that says subscribe. But anyway, the Broadway boxing card, it doesn't surprise me that it's a garbage card. Typical Lou DiBella garbage Broadway boxing card. It's in its 12th year. I don't know how it survived. These fights are always mismatches, 100% mismatch. And I will read the fights to you right now. In the main event, the undefeated Bryant Cruz, he's 13-0. And he's taken on now. Whenever they describe a fighter as tough as nails, you know that the guy, he's as tough as nails when he's fighting somebody that doesn't know how to fight. But Pee Wee Cruz is what they call Bryant. Pee Wee Cruz taking on Jorge Pazos, 14 wins, 7 losses, and a draw. It's scheduled for 8 rounds in the junior lightweight division. And remember, Pee Wee Cruz is 13-0 with 7 knockouts. Also on the card is in the junior middleweight division, undefeated Frank Galarza, 15-0 with a couple of draws and 9 of his wins coming by knockout. He's going to be taking on Raul Munoz. Raul Munoz's record, 23 wins, 17 losses, and a draw. A typical Lou DiBella, I'm telling you. Also on the card, a good fighter. I like this kid, Cedric Agnew. He was the one that lost against Kovalev when he got his world title shot. He's 27-1 right now. He's taken on Samuel Clarkson, who's 12-3. Don't be fooled by the 12-3 record of Samuel Clarkson. Check him out and see who he fought and when he fought. Also on the card in the 8-round junior featherweight matchup, Danny Aquino, who's 16-2, is taking on Pablo Batres. And Batres, they don't even list his record on the schedule, so he must be really poor if they're not even putting his record on the press release. In the junior welterweight division, Ivan Baranchek is 3-0 with a couple of knockouts. He's taken on another undefeated fighter, David Thomas, who's 4-0 in a 4-round welterweight fight. Remember, Baranchek is a junior welterweight, and this ought to be the best matched fight on the card, at least on paper. In the junior middleweight division, Chris Galliano, 6-0, is taking on Javier Loya, who's 7-2. In a scheduled 6-round junior middleweight fight. Andrew Ruiz, he's an undefeated welterweight, 7-0 with 4 knockouts, is taking on Evincili Dixon, who's 4-1 in a 6-round fight. And also a pro debuter, Alan Vanassi, is taking on once beaten, because he's only had one fight, Richard Ballard in a cruiserweight fight. I love the cruiserweight division, so I'm always supportive of any cruiserweight that is trying to build themselves up. So let me know if you go to this fight. I know our very own Dax Khan will be ringside for this. So Alex Vanassi, he's actually from where I went to high school, man, Carmel, New York. So pretty good stuff there. So anyway, and also to kick off the event, Peter Dobson, he's 2-0 with a knockout, is taking on Tyrell White in a 4-round welterweight fight. So that's what's taking place on February 20th next week, and at the Broadway boxing event in Westchester. Now we will. I'll be up at Turning Stone, and as you just heard from Coach, my man Daryl. Just went blank. Williams is going to be fighting. Going to be putting on a card in Long Island. So Daryl Madison. Jeez, I'm getting bad. I better take. What do I need? Ginkgo, or what do you need that stuff for your memory? Right? I'm starting to lose it. There was a problem yesterday at the Boxino tournament. Cleotis Pendarvis, he swung by the buffet before he got his fat ass on the scale and didn't make weight, so they had to replace him. So he's going to be out of the tournament. And I like what they do. And again, kudos to Eric Botcher, who's the matchmaker for this event, to have a couple of guys waiting in the wings just in case something like this happens, so it doesn't affect the tournament. And obviously, all the participants were pre-approved. So Ricardo Pinel will not be fighting Pendarvis. He's replaced by he's fighting the replacement, and it ought to be interesting. Because all this time Pinel was preparing for Pendarvis. Now he gets tossed in a curve. But also Stanislav Skokerhad is taking on Michael Moore. Brandon Adams is taking on Alex Perez. And Vito Garaspian is taking on Simon Hardy. They're all pretty tough fights. I am picking Brandon Adams to win it all. So I'm actually picking him for the fight now, for his fight. Now, if you're not part of the challenge, all of these fights are on the Billy C Challenge this week, and everybody's going to get an automatic W for the Cleotis Pendarvis failing to make weight, because we send these out on Thursday morning, so it was prior to him getting his fat ass up on the scale. So now don't forget, next week when we do the heavyweight version of the Boxino tournament, there's a pretty good card as well. Donovan Dennis, this is up at the Turning Stone. I want you to get tickets for that. And as I just found out, if you get today's trivia question correct, you're going to win a pair, because Coach won a couple of pairs of tickets and he can't make it. So, he basically won nothing. He won nothing now. And now we're going to give the tickets away to the winner of today's trivia question, which I'm going to, I guess, do right after this next break, since the phone lines are dead. 845-228-8710. But next week, Donovan Dennis, 10-1, going up against Steve Acosta, who's 10-0. Now, Steve Acosta is a fighter, heavyweight, that had been out of boxing for, I think, like 7 years or 8 years. He came back, won one fight against Estrada, Jason Estrada, which was actually a pretty decent win. And he's ready to roll. So he's in this tournament. Razvan Akanyo, 12-1, is taking on Ed Fountain, Big Ed Fountain, who I've seen fight before. Andrei Fedosov, who's probably the biggest name and most experienced fighter on this in this tournament. He's 25-3. He's taking on my man, Nate Heaven. Nate Heaven is from Florida. I got to call a fight of his on the South Senecola card, and he subsequently has lost since then, but he destroyed a fighter on I think it was Donovan Dennis, to be honest with you, destroyed him at Turning Stone last year on the Hall of Fame weekend. I'm pretty sure it was him. And Mauricio Harada, who's 9-1. Maybe it was Mario Harada. He's taking on Lenroy Thomas. Now, I know Lenroy. Lenroy's a big dude. Lenroy's a big dude out of Florida, but it looks like Lenroy Thomas doesn't like to train too much. So, interesting field. So we'll see all of those next week. But this week, we got the junior middleweight Boxino tournament kicking off. Now, just to give you a little heads up for next week, I got some other fights that I wanted to talk about that we're looking at for next week. Maybe I'll mention some of these. Well, I'll mention some real quick right now, and then I'm going to take a break. We got the Arthur Abraham Smith rematch, Paul Smith rematch, Jürgen Brammer and Robin Krasnicki. That's next weekend. Huey Fury returns to the ring, scheduled to anyway. That's next weekend as well. They're still saying that the Tony the Tiger Thompson and Orlando Solis rematch will still be taking place next week, just not where they originally said. We also have my man in the small. He's a minimum weight, a straw weight. Hiki Budlar. He's 27-1. He's going to be fighting again. So I'll look forward to that. David Price was scheduled to be on the undercard of the Arthur Abraham show. So we'll see what there. Sammy Vasquez Jr. is looking for another win when he takes on Emmanuel Larte on February 20th on Showtime, and Claudio Moreno is also on that card. Showtime, they're really slipping, huh? I mean, this year, and especially now that, if I'm them, I feel Al Haymon kind of kicked us to the curb, if I'm Showtime. But, hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, the phone line is open. If nobody calls, and I don't mean nobody here. I mean, if none of yous call, then we will be wrapping it up, man. I'll get off an hour early today. I'm okay with that. I'll be back in 2.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. now has official merchandise available on TalkinBoxing.com. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and mugs. And yes, even undergarments. Talkin' Boxing apparel is the perfect gift for the boxing fan in your life. Log on to www.talkinboxing.com. That's TalkinBoxing.com and place your order today.
Join us here for 2 hours as Billy and the gang do what they do best.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out their ass. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't.
You hit Joe Louis's ass.
Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought.
Huh?
What?
We're supposed to be talking boxing.
It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
As Billy C. sits here in the multi-million-dollar Talkin' Boxing Studios, sipping a fine wine before you're even out of bed, you should be thinking, damn, I wish I had a mustache like his. It's the Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. show. He's Billy C., and you're not. Sucks to be you.
Now let's dig into our archives and hear a rare interview when Billy C. first became the champion of boxing talk radio. Hello, Billy C. As the new champ, can we ask you a few questions?
Why, certainly.
Okay, your fans would like to know how you and your corner have successfully walloped the competition.
We're not ordinary people. We're morons.
Anything else?
I'm a victim of circumstance.
Did your success finally come when you made the show 5 days a week for 2 hours? What do you think?
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Now, please tell the listeners what you've learned from making it this far.
Certainly. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed.
Great words of wisdom, Billy C. Keep up the great work as the undisputed People's Champion with your show, Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Any last words to anyone who's listening?
This is your fault, you bonehead.
And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C. show. Glad you could join us. Hey, man, a couple of good cards coming up for you to check out. First and foremost, don't forget April 3rd in Sarasota, Florida. China Smith Boxing is going to present not one, not two, but 3 WBF title fights. You can get yourself some tickets or find out more information by visiting our website, www.billycboxing.com, and clicking on the April 3rd poster, which is on the right-hand side. And if you can't get down to beautiful Sarasota, Florida, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, because we're going to be broadcasting the whole event for free on LDL TV. That's right. You could check out me calling the action, and we're going to have it for free for you on LDL TV, and you can also check out the stream right here on BillyCBoxing.com. Now, in 2 weeks, on February 28th, in Syracuse, New York, JKJ Boxing is presenting another card filled with local talent. You can get tickets starting at $20 a piece. You can visit our website, www.BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the JKJ Boxing fight poster, which has the picture of 3 chickies on it. So, not chickies like Easter chickies. I'm talking about broads, women, hotties. You'll see it. Joining us right now, my man Jack. What's up, brother?
Hey, BC. How are you, mate?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Looking forward to getting a ringside report. I guess you'll find out next week, right?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that myself. I've got alternative tickets just in case.
Well, we got, if everybody wants to check out my man Jack, he's got his preview article up on BillyCBoxing.com, so check that out. It's on the front page or in his column. So what's on your mind, my man?
I was just going to follow up on my last call. What a disappointment I have now for Billy Joe Saunders, coming from a real fighting family and stuff like that, to take that step aside money. I can see where I have seen an interview with him where he does look very ashamed of himself, to be honest. He looks like he's got his tail between his legs. But he's saying it's the best thing for his family, to be honest. He's got this, they said it's a 7-figure deal. So that's got to be, $100,000 plus. So that's pretty good for stepping aside, I suppose. But then he steps aside for the Endam fight as well. So I'm a bit disappointed with him.
Well, they told him 7-figure. That's $1 million, right?
Maybe I added one on then. Sorry, I'm pretty sure it was a 6-figure.
Oh,
sorry.
6 figure. 6 figure. Okay, 6 figures is that's still nice. I mean, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah. I didn't understand it. It seemed like he was kind of being. Well, Nadam's not an easy fight. I mean, he's a little rough and tumble, but it's not an easy fight. But not that he's going to get an easier fighter for the winner of the fight that he stepped aside for. So listen, I kind of liked it because I can't stand. The reason why I liked it is I can't stand these sanctioning bodies. They strip fighters or create a belt just so they can get more. And when these guys turn around and do this, I kind of like it. That makes the IBF look like idiots, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, but it's also helped out Quillen, which I don't like at all. Quillen's chucked his belt in the bin, and not even 12 months later he wants it back, and of course he's got a shot, which I think is a complete joke, really.
What, against Andy Lee?
Well, I think what's he done now, Quillen? He's vacated the title, and he hasn't fought for almost a year or over a year around that. So why is he getting a title shot? It's thanks to Uncle Al, isn't it?
Yeah, and the other thing is the other guy who's the WBA champion, Daniel Jacobs, he has no business even thinking about putting a belt around his waist, and you haven't heard his name either. Remember, they're all signed with Al. And, although there's a lot of pressure on Al Haymon right now, and that's my my comment of the day, if he pulls this off, the TV deal, it's going to be great for the sport, whether we like him or not. But if he fails, it's going to really set the sport back because he's going to be taking all those fighters with him that signed. He's got, 150 fighters now, and they're all going to go down the drain with him. I don't know. At least it appears that they could. I'm sure that they could just get out of the contract or whatever. But who knows? Only time will tell.
If he does fail now, he only has himself to blame with his matchmaking. Like he started off the year making some good fights. There is a bit of a problem with the Peterson Garcia. It's a 10-rounder. It's a catchweight. It's not for the belts, But at least he's making the good fights. Well, at least he looks like he's intending on making the good fights this year. And now he's got this TV platform to do it. It's only himself. He can only hang himself here. He's got all the fighters. He's got all the means to do it, so it should be a success, and I hope it is. I want boxing to grow. I want it to be the biggest sport in the world.
Well, I hate the catchweights like you. I hate the catchweights, but I like that he's creating matchups that at least people are interested in without a title. I don't like the Danny Garcia Lamont Peterson not fighting for a title because they're both junior welterweight champs, so they should be fighting for a title. Instead, the line is, Danny, they want to slowly get him ready for 147. I have a feeling that Lamont, you dummy, Peterson is going to probably get the better end of Danny. We saw how Danny struggles with fighters that can box. And Lamont Peterson, for some reason, people underestimate him. He's a lot better than people think. So I think Danny has a lot to show us. He's coming off of two, kind of piss-poor performances. So, but the thing about Al Haymon is the deal he's got, Jack, is that he paid for that time. It's not like he, here in the States, HBO and Showtime and ESPN, the three primary fight channels that we have, and even NBC before Al Haymon's deal, they were paying for the fight. So they would pay the promoter to put on the fight and give them parameters in terms of who's going to fight, blah, blah, blah. What Al Haymon's doing is what they used to do. He bought the time. He paid NBC $20 million for those 11 shows. And his hopes is that he's going to be able to sell advertising to make a profit, to not only pay for his broadcast time, but also pay his fighters. Now, that's a big nut to crack, considering that corporate USA, anyway, has not really been big-time sponsors in the sport of boxing for 25 years. The only ones that we get is Gillette for ESPN and the beer guys and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Really, I mean, that's about it. So it's going to be interesting to see, because if he can get those guys back into the sport, it's going to trickle down and help everybody. So and if he fails, he's going to lose probably $100 million. Rumor has it that he's got $100 million invested, not his money, all his buddies' money. So we'll see, man. I think he's got a lot of pressure on him, and I hope he succeeds, to be honest with you.
Maybe one of the reasons that this is at a catchweight is because that's probably one of the largest overhangs, sanctioning fees. Maybe he's trying to think of how I can definitely make a profit here. Maybe he's going to try and do that a lot with his fighters. Maybe he's going to make catchweights or fights, big fights, just not for belts, so he doesn't have to pay sanctioning fees. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, the sanctioning fees, yeah, that's a percentage. But listen, he's boasting that he's paying the main event fighters on his series 7-figure salary, all right? 7-figure purse. And as we know now, that's $1 million, right? At least, I'm only kidding with you. But, it's
late over here, Billy.
What's that? Well, you guys don't even have a fax machine in town, so I know, man. I'm glad you finally
got my abacus here.
I know, and I'm glad. I heard rumors that running water is going to be installed in the next few weeks, which is going to be great. But, the thing is that, you take the purses, right? So you're looking at $1 million purse for his main event. You're looking at, I don't know how many, probably $2 million, a little more than $2 million per show, which is what it's costing him, plus the regular expenses to put on a show and all of that stuff. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on him. I mean, he's going to have to pull in, roughly $5 million, at least $4 million per show. On television advertising. And I don't know, man. I just think it's a tough nut. I mean, my calculations, John from LDL TV and myself were crunching numbers. We know the business, and we're figuring that it's looking like this guy is going to have to come up with between $4 and $5 million worth of revenue per show on NBC. $4 or $5 million per show just to break even, just to make a couple of bucks. I don't know, man. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, especially when you're counting on corporate USA, which hasn't invested a nickel in boxing in a quarter of a century. So I don't know. If he pulls it off, more power to him.
It sounds like he needs a massive contract for that sort of. To make that sort of revenue through advertising, like through maybe McDonald's or Coca-Cola. But like you say, none of them have been involved, if ever, have they? I don't even think McDonald's have ever, the giants.
Well, George Foreman, I think, was back in the day. But listen to this. Here's let me take it a step further, right? let's say he pulls it off. Let's say he gets $5 million for the first show or two, okay? Now the pressure's really on Al Haymon to keep us interested, not so much us, the diehards. We're going to watch, me and you fight if they put it on TV. We watch anything, But I mean, the fan that they're hoping to catch, that crossover fan maybe from MMA, or the fan that hasn't watched boxing in 25 years, and now it's on network television, now it's on prime time, now it's on the afternoon. Maybe they get that audience back. But here's where it's really going to, when push comes to shove, the make or break for Al Haymon is really going to come into focus. What's going to happen is, if the ratings don't stay up, if the ratings aren't continuing to be good, the corporate USA is going to back out because they're all about ratings. If he's convinced them to align themselves with boxing for whatever reason they got away from the sport, now it's going to be all about the ratings. And if he can't get the ratings, he's going to fail. So he's battling multiple fronts here, brother.
He's going to have to put on fights like Garcia Peterson at least every other month, I think, isn't he? Because obviously that's where he's going to be making the big money when it's the big name fights. He's not going to be making that sort of money from his Spike TV deal and stuff, I presume, anyway.
Well, what do you mean? I mean, listen, the blueprint for him is the same. He's counting on taking, resurrecting corporate sponsorships, getting them to align with his series. And as long as his series can do the numbers, he's hoping that these matchups, like Keith Thurman against Robert the Ghost Guerrero and Adrian Broner against John Molina, etc., are going to draw a lot of people to watch it. Now, on paper, maybe they look good, but when we dissect these fights, like I was saying before, I mean, unless Adrian Broner gets so cocky with John Molina, if he's smart, John Molina's never going to catch him. Never. I mean, John Molina's, he's got a lot of heart. He takes punches and he's got knockout power, but he's very limited. He's got no movement. He's got no defense. Adrian Broner's going to pick him apart.
Broner should easily outbox him, and probably the same with Thurman Guerrero as well.
Well, the thing about Guerrero is there's a question mark there. I don't know which
Guerrero turns up.
Well, I don't know which Guerrero is going to show up exactly, because if it's the Guerrero that was trying to get the fight with Mayweather and he fought those 3 fights leading up to the Mayweather fight, he looked fantastic. He had me fooled. I thought he was going to give Mayweather a go, and then he just lays that proverbial egg against Floyd Mayweather. So if that's the Robert the Ghost Guerrero that shows up and he's there for the payday, for that, $1 million payday or whatever, it's not going to be an entertaining fight. It's going to be a showcase fight. So it's really, the jury's going to be out after we see, what kind of excitement these guys bring. Because if they don't, it's going to fail. And like I said, as much as I disagree with Al Haymon and his cherry pick, his showcase mentality, I hope that this network TV on NBC and Spike TV, and I heard that they're going to announce a third one, I hope it works. I really do. I want it to work. I think it will be good for the sport.
Yeah, it definitely would be. Billy. Let's go back to Europe, Billy. Next week, other than the Paul Smith-Abraham card, obviously we've got Golovkin, Murray as well, with Hughie Fury and Rudenko on the undercard. I think there's a great card over in Monaco.
Yeah, and we're going to get to see it here fairly early. It's going to be on at like 5. The Triple G fight's going to be on like 5 something, and we're going to be doing a post-fight show, so that ought to be interesting. And next week we follow. I just realized I probably won't be able to do a post-fight show.
You're going to be in France, aren't you?
No. I go after that. I go 2 weeks after that, but I'm going to be still probably traveling on my way back from the Turning Stone. I forgot all about that because we got the heavyweight Boxino tournament at the Turning Stone next week too. So next week is actually a good week for boxing. It's been kind of slow since 2015 kicked off.
Yes, it certainly has. I've been looking forward to this next weekend coming up for quite some time. It's too great, especially for Europe. We've been really quiet over here. The only thing we had to look forward to was when Anthony Joshua was supposed to fight Kevin Johnson, and obviously that's been rescheduled now. So, I've been really looking forward to this. I think Paul Smith and Arthur Abraham is going to be a very good fight. I think that Abraham is going to come in a lot better this time. I think he knows what Paul Smith's got. I think he took the first fight lightly, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him knock out Paul Smith this time.
You know, I've always been a big fan of Arthur Abraham, all right? I can't figure the guy out. I thought that he made a mistake leaving the middleweight division. He's not the same fighter at super middleweight. I know it's only, 8-pound difference, but he's just not the same fighter. That's my first part. My second part is I've never seen a fighter that just cannot modify his game plan. He just goes into that turtle shell defense and just literally gives up the first few rounds, 4 rounds to be exact. And, I think when he lost that fight against Stiglitz, that, Stiglitz did what you're supposed to do, man. You jump all over the guy, and he ended up getting the fight stopped, I think any opponent that steps in the ring with Arthur Abraham, their game plan should be jump all over him, shoot your load out in the first few rounds, and you might get to him. If not, it could be a long night.
Yeah, I agree. Arthur Abraham, that turtle shell defense is pretty ridiculous, isn't it? That still gives European fighters a bad name. They look at him and they think that's how European fighters. He's a champion from Europe. That's how they must all fight. Well, we don't.
Well, the European style traditionally was standing up straight too, which doesn't work all the time either. But he's got Wegner as his trainer, right?
Yeah, he's also the trainer of a couple of guys on that card. I do believe he's a legend in Germany.
Oh, I know. I got to meet him. He's a Sauerland trainer. He's a nasty guy. He never smiles or nothing, but he's a really good trainer. And
he's German, Billy. Yeah. They're like that.
Well, I'm just surprised that he hasn't altered Abraham's style. It has to give me reason to believe that they've tried and they just can't. That the guy just it's a mental thing.
Well, they do call him King Arthur. I think he is quite the celebrity in Germany. They make quite a fuss about him. I think he sort of believes in himself a lot, and I don't think he believes a certain caliber of fighter can even hurt him. Do you know what I mean? And I think with the Stiglitz fight, he'd already beat him. I think thought he could just walk through him again.
Well, I tell you what got him pretty high on the fan list here in the States was when his jaw was dragging along the canvas. That was horrific, man. I don't know how he did it, but that was gruesome, man, watching that when he got his jaw broken and he went that whole fight. That's what always makes me laugh when some of these fighters, I can't continue, my pinky's broken, and you got a guy.
David Haye.
David Haye, my toe. I stubbed my toe. And you got a guy like Arthur Abraham that couldn't even close his mouth. It was just hanging there, and it was a target for the whole night. And he still wins the fight, close fight, but he still wins it, I've always liked Abraham, no question.
He's definitely a warrior, and that's why I'm really hoping he does knock out Paul Smith, because I like him as well, and I'm not a big fan of Paul Smith, even though he's a UK guy. He's the sort of guy who says, like, you don't know nothing about boxing, to fans that may question whether he's going to win or not. He's very arrogant, in my opinion. And Arthur Abraham doesn't really come across like that. Maybe it's because he's German. I can't really understand what he's saying. Maybe he's arrogant as Floyd.
I don't know about that. Hey, speaking of Floyd, which I didn't want to do today, but somebody had sent me a snapshot of a comment that someone made, and they were criticizing my statement that I made a few days ago when I said, yeah, you go and have a big fight over in England. I think we were talking about Amir Khan, not wanting, when he claimed that what's his name isn't a big enough name for him. Kell Brook, isn't a big enough name. And I said, what are you kidding? You could sell out Wembley Stadium in that fight and make, we would buy it here. It could be a pay-per-view here, or at least an HBO broadcast. And plus you would have the Sky network doing it. And I said, but the best thing is they would have, 70, 80,000 people in there. I said, our biggest moneymaker here, Floyd Mayweather, he can't even sell $16,000. And somebody writes, yeah, well, but the cheap seats for Floyd, you can't get a seat for less than $600, and the fans over in Wembley only have to pay equivalent to like $20 US, which I don't think is true. And I don't think every ticket is $600 for a Mayweather fight anyway. What does it cost for a ticket, American dollars, in like to see if I was going to go see that fight? If I was going to see Amir Khan against Kell Brook at Wembley Stadium, what would I pay for a normal seat?
Well, Froch Groves was around about £40. That's about $60. But that is in the... You can't see the fight. You're watching the screen there. If for a decent seat, you're paying anywhere from $500 to $1,000. Like we're talking like in the first... Because obviously it's a football stadium, so the first row of seats and that they're on the pitch. So that there you're talking $1,000, I reckon. But that'd be second price. First hand you could $400 I think would be face market value, but they're in so hot demand. There's so many people that want to go and see these big fights. They go for double, triple the money on all the websites.
Yeah.
But on regards to Amir Khan, Kell Brook, I'm not sure it would be at Wembley for starters. They're both from the north of England, so I think Old Trafford, the Manchester Stadium, would probably be more likely, and that's holds 60,000. And I think that'd probably be more likely because although they are both big names, they're not as popular as Froch and Groves, and they don't have that rivalry. That because Amir Khan won't talk to him. They're never in the same room together. They have this rivalry on Twitter. And we know about it, but they don't have the rivalry to the casuals because Amir Khan classes himself above him. I think a much more likely fight is Kell Brook and Marquez, and I think that will be quite possibly for Wembley in the summer. And Eddie Hearn has spoke about it already. He said he's number one target now.
Well,
Amir Khan refused to fight him.
First of all, Amir Khan might have, then based on what you're saying, Amir Khan might be right. He might want to, wait for Kell Brook to get more of a following so it's worth a little more money. Even if Amir Khan fights Pacquiao or Mayweather and loses, it's not going to hurt the Kell Brook fight. As far as Marquez is concerned, I don't understand. First of all, Marquez isn't a big draw by himself. He's not. Maybe in Mexico. But, I mean, the guy, every time he's in, with the exception of the knockout win over Pacquiao, he really doesn't look great in fights anymore, And I don't know. I think he's more of a big
name. That's all we need, Billy, in the UK. When it's not a UK, when it's a champion fighting a foreigner, you just need a big name, and it helps if you're American or Mexican, because they're the biggest boxing countries,
Yeah, but
so
he's just
Marquez will. I don't think they'll fill Wembley. I think they could do 50 to 60,000 though, with him and Kell Brook there, with a solid undercard, Anthony Joshua and so on.
That's a safe fight for Kell Brook. Kell Brook wouldn't have to worry too much about Marquez. Marquez,
that's what it's about for them. They want to keep the O until they can fight Amir Khan, whereas Amir Khan can't fight Kell Brook until he fights Mayweather or Pacquiao, because he knows if he loses to Kell Brook, he's never going to fight either of them. So right. It's a never-ending circle,
Right. No, you're right about that. And, the thing is, Marquez is 40 years old. I mean, he's, I mean, if you want to accuse him of, I don't like, I believe people are innocent until proven guilty, but he clearly looks like he's sipping the juice, and I don't mean orange, so I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but interesting. To me, he's just become a crybaby, almost like Miguel Cotto became. Like they think they're bigger than they are. I don't know.
Yeah, well, why not? They are big names. They do get paid a lot of money, and in their country, I'm obviously Cotto's from Puerto Rico, which in boxing is a country I've been told by Puerto Ricans. They're revered, like Marquez was the top guy in Mexico for a while, and now Canelo's coming through. Cotto's still the top guy in Puerto Rico. Why can't they demand things and stuff? I know it to us guys that have to scratch for a living. We can't appreciate it, but it's hard to see that millionaire's mentality. I've seen some snobby people with some money. You know what it's like.
No, I agree with you, and I didn't mean it like that. If I came off like that to everyone, I didn't mean it like that. What I meant was that he's demanding. Listen, the two big money guys in boxing right now, clearly Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. I don't know if you could say a Marquez or a Khan or a Cotto. Maybe Cotto is the next one, number 3, But the rest of the guys are so far below them, So, I mean, to even suggest that you should be considered like a Pacquiao or a Mayweather, like Marquez suggests, I think is kind of funny,
Yeah, I see your point there, Billy. I see your point.
Cotto,
they are the king of the castle in their own countries. That was what I wasn't trying to say. You're picking on them.
No.
They're the king of the countries in their country. King of the can't even speak. I've got jackalitis.
Yeah, that's like me lately. I can't either. No, I understand what you're saying, but actually, Cotto has made more money here in the U.S. than he ever made in Puerto Rico. So, I mean.
Like I always argue, Puerto Rico is not a country; it's a state. So how could it be a country? But
it's
somebody
not.
Was trying to give Salido a lot of props for going to from Mexico to Puerto Rico, saying he's always traveling and fighting. He's only fought in Puerto Rico, which is America, the actual landmass, or Mexico. Whereas someone like from Europe, they fight everywhere. It's not a big deal. Anyway, off the subject.
They don't want to. Puerto Rico doesn't want to become a state. They could. They're just like an ally or whatever they call us, a territory or something. I don't know. But anyway, well, listen, man. I look forward to you getting and reporting on that fight. That's for sure. And we'll have a full week of shows next week, so we'll get to talk about this Boxino tournament come Monday.
Yeah, good stuff, Billy. I'm going to hopefully try and speak a bit to David Price if I get the chance. I'll get in contact with him on Twitter and see if he's available while I'm there. So hopefully we can get a bit of news on him and see where he's going to go for his career.
Sounds good. Tell him we'd love to have him come on the show.
Okay, great stuff. Will do, Billy.
All right, Jack. Enjoy.
See ya.
Take care. It's my man Jack. He's calling from, I think he's still calling from Holland, but obviously he's from the UK. England is his place. But anyway, listen, I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we're going to call it a day.
Talking Boxing with Billy C. Every week, 2 hours of the best boxing talk on the radio.
I have a bunch of questions, Donnell, right? If you feel like you want to, you can answer for JD first. Why will you win? JD Chapman, why will you win?
Baby Holmes will get sick and get hit by a train that day on the way to the fight, or he might have diarrhea, he might have the flu, he might throw up. One of his eyeballs might fall out that day, and I might get lucky.
Talking Boxing with Billy C. If you want your voice heard on Talking Boxing with Billy C., then call our hotline at 845-228-8710. Leave a voicemail, or you could just tell Billy C. that you like his mustache.
Should I ask you your opinion about this idea?
I'm just trying to give you the encouragement.
Listen, all I need from you is to make sure you don't hang up on people.
And if we like your call, we'll play it back on the air.
You have the knowledge and wisdom of boxing because of what you do and how well you do it.
Leave your name, hometown, and what you think of the show. 845-228-8710. We want to hear you.
Hey, fight fans, check out KOFantasyBoxing.com. KO Fantasy Boxing is boxing's only trademarked fantasy game. Check it out, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Select your own gym, your own fighters, track them through a season that can last from 3 months to a year, depending upon which league you join. You got to check this out, man. www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Join it today. Again, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. And tell him Billy C. sent ya.
The one, the only, Don King.
Makes me feel good, Billy, to have you, the #1 show in the country, talking boxing with Billy. So I invite each and every American that's listening to this great show to tune in, because we want you to be there with Billy and me.
Now back to Talking Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
Got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
Talking Boxing with Billy C.
And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. Glad you could join us. Don't forget to check out JKJ Boxing's next event, February 28th in Syracuse, New York. It's at the Holiday Inn right off the exit. Can't miss it. All the information and how to get tickets and all that happy stuff can be obtained by visiting our website, www.billycboxing.com, and clicking on the fight poster, which is on the right-hand side. Now, you can't miss it. It's got 3 girls on it. But if you want to go to the JKJ Boxing site yourself, check it out, www.jkjboxing.com, and look under the events section, and you'll see all the information you need to know about the event. All right, well, we opened up the phone lines. We did all of that stuff, and looks like we're going to get out of here early, so I'm going to go to...
Wake up. It's time for the... It's too early for a trivia question.
Today's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question is being brought to us by the Turning Stone Resort and Casino and their next boxing event, which is taking place next week, February 20th. It's the Heavyweight Boxino Tournament, and I want you to be there. I'm going to be ringside. I want you to be there, too. Now, if you get this question right, if you're the first one to get this right, you're going to win a pair of tickets, thanks to Coach, because he won the tickets and he can't make it, so we got a pair of tickets available. If you don't win the prize, you can buy yourself some tickets by visiting our website, billycboxing.com, and clicking on the fight poster. So here's the question. Which world champion... Well, I always say this. Which former world champion has the longest knockout streak in history? Which former world champion has the longest knockout streak in history? Now, if you know this answer and you're the first one to email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing, that's TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win the choice. You'll win a pair of tickets to the Turning Stone Resort and Casino next weekend. Great seats, too. Which world champion has the longest knockout streak in history? If you know this answer, email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. And I want to thank Henry Haskup for providing us with today's trivia question.
This day in boxing history.
And finally, this day in boxing history is being brought to us by China Smith Boxing and their next boxing event, which is taking place April 3rd in beautiful Sarasota, Florida. Now, you can get yourself some tickets by visiting our website, www.billycboxing.com, and clicking on the China Smith fight poster, which is on the right-hand side. Can't miss it. It says April 3rd. Now, if you can't make it to Sarasota for this fight, which I strongly recommend, it's going to be a great card. Not 1, not 2, but 3 World Boxing Federation titles are going to be on the line. We got the heavyweight fight. We got a super middleweight and middleweight fight, all set to contend for WBF titles. So make sure you get there. But like I said, if you can't, fear not, because we're going to be showing you the whole event in its entirety right on LDL TV, and it will be for free. Now, you can also catch the internet stream right here on BillyCBoxing.com. On this day, February 13th, it's a Friday, the 13th, in case you forgot. On this day in 1982, Ossie Ocasio wins a 15-round decision over Robbie Williams to win the newly crowned or created IBF World Cruiserweight title, and that took place in South Africa. Can't even read my own writing. On this day in 1993, James Toney knocks out Iran the Blade Barkley in the 9th round to win the IBF Super Middleweight title, and that took place in Vegas. On this day in 1983, actually one of my favorite fighters of the 80s, Donald Curry, wins a 15-round decision over Jun Sok Hwang to win the vacant WBA welterweight title. Took place in Texas. On this day in 1994, Jake Rodriguez wins a 12-round decision over Charles Murray to win the IBF Junior welterweight title. Took place in Atlantic City, New Jersey. On this day, February 13th, in 1987, Fidel Bassa wins a 15-round decision over Hilario Zapata to win the WBA flyweight title. It took place in Colombia. And on this day, February 13th, the fight a lot of people forget about. But Billy Conn wins a 12. On this day in 1942, Billy Conn wins a 12-round decision over Tony Zale in their fight at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Now, the reason why people forget this is because they forget the next fight that Conn had. Because Billy Conn would go and fight Joe Louis for his second shot at a world title in his next fight, which took place 4 years later. Now, the reason why it took place 4 years later was because an event called World War II broke out. The rematch took place on June 19th in 1946, and we all know the story in the first one, but this fight didn't live up to the first one's billing. Billy Conn was knocked out in the 8th round on that one. Hey, man, that concludes our show, although it's a little early today, but it concludes our show for today. Make sure you enjoy the Boxino tournament this weekend, and don't forget, the one fight was already canceled, so everybody in the Billy C tournament, you all got a win for that. It wasn't canceled, it was replaced, but anyway. Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you guys. Don't forget to tune in Monday evening, same bad time, same bad channel. Until then, ciao, baby.